Hello viewers, Flash Motorsport here and welcome to Watkins Glen. Now for this race I qualified, got P2 position, but things were not meant to be and we had quite a subtle change after the first corner. As we're coming down towards this first corner, Dan brakes in front, I brake and Hyundai dives up the inside, gives me a little love tap on the way out of the corner, push me off track and I get a lovely little penalty for it. A 0.5 second right there and then another tap right there. So I'm not too sure what all that is about, but clearly they just like to be friends or just want a hug. Not too sure. If you want a hug, just ask, you know, I'm a friendly person. As they come up the inside now, I brake at the ambulance, let them take that position, but because they're going through and not the optimal angle, they get a little bit of a love tap from me to encourage them to go a little bit faster. Nothing like a bit of encouragement when the shoe is on the other foot. As we go around the hut, we start accelerating full throttle and keeping up on the right hand side. Trying to stay in the toe of All Face Doolittle 444 and keeping on the right, looking out for the 200 meter marker and braking down to 4th gear. Turning in about 97 to 100 miles per hour, coming to the outside, back to your left hand side and then braking again at about 90 miles per hour to 95 through there. All Face went through a little bit slow and I nearly went into the back of him. It's not something I want to do. Keeping on the left hand side, looking out for the 200 marker again and then braking hard down to 3rd gear and turning in, using the curb as much as you can, accelerating out the other side. Now I have a better run out of that corner. I am still going to hold back as we go through this S because I don't want the slipstream pushing me up behind them and not being able to overtake. I want to use the last corner of this S like I am now, getting the maximum amount of slipstream and getting a good run out and down this straight. And I'm forcing it to my left hand side and keeping as far left as I can. A third Hyundai joins the party and ultimately realises it's not the game they want to be in. All Face dive in front and ultimately go quite slow through the corner and I end up clipping their back end again. As they come back onto the track I get a little bit of a side swipe, but ultimately they lose that position and Magello 8100 also gains that position from them, so that person's lost 2 positions and this is where the great racing starts. If you enjoy what you're seeing here, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And also like to take a moment to thank our channel members, which is Andy Good and Jeffrey Anderson. Thank you for supporting the channel. Without any further ado, let's head back to the race. As you see, the Hyundai is now gaining upon us here. I'm going to take the inside line. I'm going to brake at the 200 meter board, give them a bit of space and make sure that hopefully we don't get punted off here, but it did a lovely little undertake on me there. And you can see All Face Doolittle is still 0.7 seconds behind with a 0.9 second penalty. Now I'm right up the Hyundai's tail, trying to look for position, try and get something to work, and they are defending very well. So I'm going to slip up behind them, stay in their slipstream and apply a bit of pressure, looking in where I want to go, braking down the 4th gear at the ambulance, doing 100 miles per hour through here. You can see I'm getting right up behind them and there's a little bit slower through there. And I'm going to go on the outside of this corner of the track. I know I'm not going to win this outside line of the track because it is much slower. But the idea is to get into their head that I am quicker, I will overtake you, I'm just waiting for my moment. Applying that kind of pressure onto somebody is just really trying to mess with their mind and trying to win overall. I go through a bit sloppy through this corner here, back over to your left hand side and then braking down to about 90 miles per hour through here. Try and rub that in the curb, accelerating again out the other side. As I went through the last 2 corners a little bit sloppy, they have managed to create a 0.5 second lead. I know this next corner coming up, I can gain that back, braking at a 200 meter board down to 3rd gear, through the curb on the right hand side and accelerating as early as I can and coming down the straight. Now there's 0.6 seconds ahead of me. I'm still within their toe and I'm away from All Face Doolittle's toe behind me as there's 0.8 seconds. So I'm going to be catching up down this straight. I'm not going to make a position on this lap now. I'm having a little bit of a back off and then I'm going to start sneaking up on them again. Just playing with their mind a little bit, you know, it's a bit of fun. Anyway, going through the inner bus stop, we're going to make a lot of time gain through there because I am pretty confident through there. Went to look up the inside and I had my door closed. Accelerating just after we pass the hut, flat out as we go around the corner. Again, I'm looking on the inside. but they do have a ultimately better acceleration than I do. But now really up behind them, looking at the 200 meter board, braking down to 4th gear, rubbing that in the curb just like that, much better from me. And then braking again down to about 95 miles per hour, rubbing it in the curb, going through a little bit slow. I do notice though that the left hand window and the Hyundais are all open. All of the Hyundais, the left hand window is open. I'm not sure if that's a bug or you can open the window because it's hot in there. I don't know. Braking at a 200 meter board, right into that curb just like that, and accelerating downhill. That was a beautiful first corner right there, and I'm going to maximize my time. You see, it was 0.5 seconds away again, and we're already gaining now 0.4 in that toe behind them. We're going to start sneaking up through them and catching them again at that inner bus stop. As we come through here, come to your left hand side, you're looking out for the ambulance on your left hand side, and that's going to be a braking point down to 4th gear, about 100 miles per hour, and go through the right hand curb, over the left hand curb, and keeping the steering wheel left, and trying to really abuse the life out of those curbs, trying to keep a car as straight as you can going through that inner bus stop, and maximizing the speed you can carry through there. As we're coming down the straight, we're now 0.2 seconds away from them, looking out for the 200 meter board on the right hand side, and then braking down to 4th gear, looking about 95 miles per hour through here, and accelerating as we come out the corner, back to your left hand side, braking again down to about 90-95, and rubbing it in the curb and accelerating out the other side. You can see that P1 didn't get the best run out of that corner, so I'm going to again start sneaking up. This is the last lap now, and this is where I'm going to make my move. Braking at the 200 meter board down to 3rd gear, rubbing that in the curb as much as I can, accelerating as early as I can. You see I had a much better first corner than they did, and I'm going to sneak up the inside. It's force them to stay on my left hand side so I get the optimal run through the bus stop as we approach it in a moment. Like I say, I'm going to keep them on my left hand side. You can see they're behind me, sniffing around, trying to make the move, and I'm forcing them over and defending. There was a little bit of a nudge there, and keeping again to my right hand side, braking just after the ambulance, braking a little bit late, 100 miles an hour through there, forcing them to surrender that position and accelerate through the bus stop, because I know I'm much stronger through the bus stop than they are. And coming around this corner, looking for the blue hut, there it is, accelerating out the other side, and we have that position done. The shameful thing is, I'm still only 0.4 seconds away from them, so I know unless they have a mess up here, they are going to have this position, P1 position, because of the time penalty I received in the first lap thanks to All-Face Doolittle. I mean, it is what it is, but I do feel that me and Mijello 8100 had an absolutely great race and an absolute blast, and it was clean. You know, we were both kept on our feet and we were both pushing each other along, which I massively say thank you very much, and it was an absolute blast to do so. And I do send them a lovely little message saying GG's on a race, thank you ever so much for it being clean and tidy, and hope to race you again soon. On to Kyalami. Now this race is like the previous race. I qualified, started in P2 position, but ultimately I had an absolute blast of a race. It was absolutely brilliant. See, me and White Crank in front started off extremely well. I quite like the blue on that car. I think it's really nice. Anyway, as we're coming down here without getting distracted by the blue on their car, looking out for just after the 100 meter board where the tarmac is, braking down to 2nd gear and rubbing the inner curb on the inside. I've given White Crank a little bit of space and the cars behind me a little bit of space, but ultimately contact is made. I thought I gave him enough space. Clearly I did not. Anyway, over the curb we go, and trying to stay away from the curb on the right hand side. It is a bit sandy, it does upset the car. It's something you don't want to touch on this track because the curbs really destroy you. Braking as the curb starts on the left hand side, coming around here about 95 miles per hour and accelerating as soon as the corner opens up. Stay away from the sand on the outside of the curb. Brake as the curb starts again down to 2nd gear, over this curb on the left hand side, accelerating out of the corner. Flat out down this tiny bit of straight here, and then back down to 3rd gear, over the curb on the left hand side, and then bring it to the curb on the right hand side. Go try and get yourself over that curb. Helps with the rotation of the car, because if you do get yourself over that curb, you can pretty much go flat out around the whole curve and up the hill. Gives you a bit of a better speed boost. Braking at the top of the hill down to 2nd gear and accelerating as you come halfway around that corner, and downhill we go. Flat out down this section, trying to catch up to the car in front. Cutting the corner, going to use a bit of the curb on this corner to try and maximize a bit of time, and braking at the 100 meter board down to 2nd gear, rubbing that curb on the right hand side, trying to get a better rotation of the car and accelerating as soon as you come off that curb. And keep to your left hand side here, and then fling it over to your right over this curb. Really abuse that. The touring cars love going over that curb. Can be heavily abused. Braking at the 50-meter board down to second gear, holding as tight as you can. As soon as you come out of that corner, accelerate and hard. As you can see, I've made a little bit of time up on White Crank in front. They're 0.4 seconds away. So now it's just about maximizing the straight line speed to try and capitalize upon that and gain a little bit of temps here and there. Braking at the 100-meter board down to second gear, turning in and accelerating out the other side. As we come up this hill, keep to your right hand side, rub that curb a little bit, and then as soon as the road ends on your left, braking down to second gear over this curb, accelerate as soon as you clip that curb on your left hand side, and coming down here flat out again. And you look on your left hand side, the curb starting just now. That's your braking point. Just dab on the brakes, get the nose down, helps bringing it round this corner. As soon as the corner opens up, start accelerating back over to your right hand side. As soon as the curbs start again, braking down to second gear and using the wide curbs to help you rotate the car coming around. If you do catch yourself going on that sand on the right hand side, plant that car straight. Don't turn anymore. Try and get the car arrow straight, and you pretty much can recover from that. If you're still wiggling on the wheel or anything like that, the back end just wants to spin around and not play game with you anymore. Braking down to second gear, turning in, you can see we're still 0.5 seconds away from White Crank in front. We're pretty much on par with each other here. This is where it's so hard to try and find a position where you can overtake or capitalize upon that. I say I am still a bit skitty with the MG. It doesn't like to follow people very well. As you can see now, got sucked in a little bit there. I did again break at the 100-meter board, but we did gain a few temps there, luckily enough. I think also I may have made White Crank a bit nervous as I came steaming up behind him because the braking effort was heavily reduced. Anyway, like I was saying, the MG can be a little bit funny behind people, but we're now 0.3 seconds away. So really we're just keeping that pressure on, hoping the car in front will make a mistake. And that's the whole idea really. If you can't overtake, apply that pressure, keep applying it. Start when you're getting really close up behind them, start sniffing around them, looking for positions. You're not going to be able to take it, but the thought that you're looking and you're pushing and you're sniffing, you're sticking your nose in different places and areas where you shouldn't be, it puts them off in front. You know, they're looking in the mirror. What is he doing? What is that person doing? Why are they going in that position? That's stupid. And whilst they're looking at you, they're not looking in front. And whilst they're not looking in front, something can go wrong, and that's what you're looking for. That's what you're trying to capitalize on. Because if you can't overtake because you're both at the same kind of level, or both at the same speed on your lap times are quite consistent with each other, you want to start applying the pressure, start applying different tactics, making different things, just pull them sort of off their game, like, you know, and confuse them a little bit. But that's the ultimate goal. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. You just take a chance, you know, and it's all part of the fun really, because whilst White Crank in front is that, what, 0.4 seconds ahead of me right now, and I'm watching what they're doing as well. And it's also good to learn, although as you can see, we are very quick on the track. We are both 7 seconds away from P3. We are both very quick on this track, but there's going to be different positions where White Crank in front is faster in a corner than I am, or I am faster in a corner than they are. And learning from that, learning what they do differently, is all a part of it. You know, you could be the fastest person in the world until someone overtakes you. You know, if you don't keep wanting to learn, looking to learn new ways of doing things, adapting different ways of being able to do things. So if they take a corner in front, for example, at a different speed, a different angle, or faster or slower than me, but they're coming out the other side quicker, then I know that if I do exactly what they did, I could also do that further down the line. It's just learning, and it's all part of the fun really. Anyway, breaking the 100-meter board down to second gear and turning in. Over the curb we go, a little bit too far over the curb we go, and bring it to the right hand side. You can see now White Crank is in front, is 0.8 seconds away, which they are gaining through a few attempts here and there, down to my shenanigans and just not being as consistent as I once was. But all is not lost. We're now 8.5 seconds away from Unitary Worm 2990 in P3. You can see they're rubbing that outside tyre really hard, so I wonder if they're on minor wear now. I'm not too sure how the Audi is on tyre wear. I mean, overall, the Audi is good in all departments, where the MG used to be very good on the top end. I think they're both quite evenly matched now, and I'm not too sure what the Audi is like on tyre wear, whether the MG is better or the Audi is better, because I am about to hit minor wear, but not there just yet. Braking down to second gear as we go through this corner here, they go up the inside. You can see rubbing the outside tyre really hard, so they accelerated very early, come out that corner. Now just had minor wear on the right hand side front tyre, and the left hand side is going to be right behind it right now. But looking at the 100-meter board on the left hand side, braking as soon as you pass that 100-meter board down to second gear, there you go. The front near side tyre, the front left hand side tyre has also come up with minor tyre wear. So really, we're probably on par with each other here. Clipping over this curb, and I'm surprised I didn't get a penalty for that, because I really cut that corner. Braking at the 50-meter board, down to second gear, and I was looking to make a move here, and I don't know why. I took it way too deep. I just did it, and it is what it is. As we cross over the line, get a lovely good race sign up, and we do have a really good conversation at the end of this race. We spent about a good few hours chatting with each other, to be fair, and we have become friends. I love it when you meet people like this. Absolutely blasting racing. It's so good to be kept on your toes like that, because I learned something from them. They learned something from me. And they know next time we race together, it's going to be a nice, clean, competitive race. And you can see they also had the 1/10 faster lap time than I did as a best lap. But thank you, White Crank, for that. Absolute blast racing with you, and hope to race again soon. Next race is at Laguna Seca, and I did qualify. I got P2 position, but the person that got P1 was in a Honda, so they must have been absolutely quick around that track in that Honda to have that P1 position, and must be able to drive that car real well. So Maxi Hunt 5200, well done buddy for showing me you can really push a Honda. Anyway, coming around here, you're looking about 110 through here. You got to be quite dicey, like I say, everybody's a bit close up, so I can understand them braking and creating a little bit of a barrier. Coming through here, flat out and up the hill we go, keeping it to your right side, looking out for the 200-meter board, braking down the fourth gear, coming through this corner about 90 miles per hour, and I don't know what happened in front. Maxi Hunt just lost it, and I got clipped by them, and I was so worried I was going to get a penalty, but I did not in the end. And I have no idea what really upset that car. I'm very shocked that the curb upset them, to be fair. I know as soon as you touch the sand, it does really upset the car, but not the curb, not like that. So I'm quite shocked that they got taken out like that. And it's quite a shame, because that would have been some great competition with the Honda. But we do have a P1 position, braking at the 200-meter marker just before it, and I'm down to second gear, coming around this curb and accelerating out the other side. As we cross over the start and finish line, we are now 1.7 seconds ahead of Pinot 1707, and we don't have a clean lap time going through there because we did have to go off the sand. But coming around here, looking about 110 miles an hour over this curb and accelerating down here. As you come down here, you want to be flat out and rubbing the banking, keep making sure you use that banking as much as you can. Coming back to your right hand side, braking at the 200-meter board, down to third gear, about 90-95 miles per hour you can take that. I went through a little bit slow there, and just a bit more cautiously. I don't want to go off the track like the poor Honda did. Braking at the top of the hill, down to second gear, turning in and accelerating out the other side. As we come downhill, you want to stay in the middle and stay on the darker part of the track. Use the banking to your advantage as you go through that curb, and then back to your left hand side, and then down to third gear, coasting it around through here and accelerating as soon as you rub that in the curb. Back to your right hand side and braking just before the 200-meter marker, down to second gear, and over we go. In one lap, we have gained 2.5 seconds away from P2. You can see they are 4.5 seconds away from us now, and that time is just going to keep building and building. As we come through here, dabbing the brakes down to about 110 miles per hour, went through a little bit slow again, a bit more cautiously, and accelerated through here. You can really tank it through this part here. If you do really manage to catch a lot of speed through here, and you're worried about you going off track, rub that sand patch on the left hand side. It will bring you in and hold you on your left hand side, and you can still take that corner at relatively high speed. Up the hill we go. As soon as we pass the Rolex sign, looking for the brow, hard on the brakes, down to second gear, turning in and accelerating out the other side. Keeping again to the middle of the track and using the darker part where it's more grippier and the banking to your advantage. and accelerate as soon as we come out of that corner to your left hand side, and then dab on the brakes down to third gear to the right hand side, and then keep to your right hand side, looking up for 200-meter marker, braking just before it, and down to second gear. We are now 8.3 seconds, 8.4 seconds away from Rum Killer 420685. Not too sure what happened to Pino 1707, but they seem to be behind Rum Killer, and I still don't know where the Honda has gone. It's a shame, like I say, that the whole curb situation really upset that car to that point where they was just totally lost control of it. And it's just took them out of the race with one little mistake like that. And I know it happens in the real world, that one simple little mistake can destroy your race like that. I've had it many times, but never just rubbing that curb on the right hand side. Not like that. And it's an absolute shame that whether it's a physics fault or something like that, that upset the car, it took them out of the race, because it must be really, really frustrating for something like that to happen. So Maxi Hun 5200, hope to race you again soon and have another blast of you if you're driving a Honda. As we're looking through here, keeping to your right hand side, braking just before 200-meter marker, turning in. We're now 11.5 seconds away. Maxi Hun's worked their way really hard back up to P2, so it shows you how quick of a driver they are. And I know they're not going to make 12 seconds up in the next 2 laps unless I really mess up, which hopefully I don't do. Braking at the 200 marker, down to about 110 miles an hour, and going over this curb and accelerating down here. Be mindful when you are following someone through there, because the understeer you can get from a bit of draft can send you that right hand wall, and when you hit that right hand wall, it's made of glue. So you do stick to it, you start spinning around instead of rubbing along it, you get stuck to it, start spinning around, and it just totally destroys you. So it's better to be more cautious and lose a tenth or two than it is to really send it, unless you're confident enough to do so. Anyway, Maxi Hun 5200 is still 11.9 seconds away from me here. As we come down the hill, we are still beating our lap time by 0.126 seconds, which is absolute blast. We're setting a best of a 17.865. So if you have beaten that lap time before, show us by how much by joining the Discord and posting up your lap times there with a screenshot. And if you haven't beaten that time, join the Discord anyway. It's a lovely bunch of people in there. We're all very active and we're all very helpful and loving and caring. So come on, join the Discord. It's an absolute blast. As we're coming through here, again, we did it at 110 miles per hour this time. So I found my my mojo coming through here. So as fast as I can, I do let off because I don't trust the banking. I didn't get the best of angles. Braking at a 200-meter marker, and up the hill we go. You can see Maxi Hun is 12.3 seconds away now. So if you think about it, if they was next to us now, we would be racing really hard with each other right now, because I'm only gaining a few tenths on them here and there, and they're gaining a few tenths back on me here and there. So, like I say, it would have been an absolute blast of a race because we're quite on par with each other. Although I do have what a lot of people say is a quicker car than the Honda. But sometimes you just gel with a car and that is your car, you know? And you could drive another car that's faster and be slower with it, where you could drive a slower car and be extremely fast with it. So it's not always about the car, it's about the driver as well, and how you gel with that car, how it handles for you, your expectations when you're driving it, as well as what you can do with it. You know, sometimes some people can jump in this MG and they're driving it like a duck on ice, you know. Some people jump in a Honda and it'll be like a cheetah, you know. It's just the way you gel with it. And like I say, you could have the fastest car in this game right now and still set the worst lap time, where you could have, well, I wouldn't say the slowest car in this game and set the best lap time, because that would never happen, but in reasonable expectations, let's say in touring car series, that Honda could have beaten me at the end of this race, just because that driver is more skillful, better, or just because they can handle that Honda the way it was intended to do so, and I could still improve upon the MG. Anyway, I digress. We are 12.5 seconds ahead of the Maxi Hun 5200, 12.7 seconds ahead now. You can see CSC 36 is 17 seconds away. But as we cross over the finish line, we do set a lap time best of 107.852. Finish the race in P1. Again, Maxi Hunt, I'd love to race you again some other time by the looks of it. And also, by the looks of it, I did set the best lap time throughout the whole race as well. So there we go. Thank you all for watching. I shall see you all next time. Goodbye.